Hey friends, I have decided to combine two sections because I think we can. We've already talked about complex fractions, and the converting rates doesn't have a lot of problems either, so I thought we'd smush them together and be efficient with our time. So let's remember our complex fractions first. So remember, complex fractions is just fraction division, written as a fraction. And so remember, fraction division, that's your keep, change, flip, or KFC, finger-licking fractions. And so what you'll mostly see in the book, well, we'll do a couple practices. So first practice, we're going to have 1/2 over 2/3. Okay? So this can be rewritten as 1/2 divided by 2/3. And then we do our keep, change, flip. Keep the first one, change, divide to multiply, and flip the second one. Becomes 3/2. Now we do fraction multiplication, and remember that's just the top times the top and the bottom times the bottom, and we're done. Ta-da! This is why I thought we could get through a couple sections today, because I think we can. This isn't too bad. Okay, so the only tricky bit that you might have is in the book telling the difference between, let's see, I have 1/3 there. 6 divided by 1/3. Okay, now the way I write it, it makes it pretty easy to tell that that 6 is a whole number and then the 1/3 is a fraction. The problems in the book make it a little bit more difficult to tell which one is, sorry, that's wonky for you, which one, just, if you can tell there's a short line for the little fraction and a bigger line for the big fraction. Okay, and these are the same problems that you'll have on Canvas. And they kind of look the same. So there's a bigger line, that's the big fraction. So like this number 2 is 2 divided by 3/11. Okay? So back to the problem. So this is 6 divided by 1/3. So I'm going to rewrite it as that, changing the 6 to be a fraction as well. So 6 over 1 divided by 1/3. Okay? And then we keep, change, flip. 6 over 1, we keep that, change, divide to multiply, flip the second one, and we end up with 18, if I could write. Okay, and then just remember Sanford's rule for mixed numbers. Always change them to improper fractions. Feel like we just did this because we did. So for example, we could even do a story problem here. So how about this story problem? It says Monica reads 7.5 pages in her book in 9 minutes. Okay, so hopefully this looks a little bit like yesterday's rates, right? What is her average reading rate in pages per minute? So we want pages per minute. That tells us where to put our numbers in the fraction. So that means we're going to have 7.5 over 9. And again, this is just division. We need to change the 7.5 to a mixed number, and I'm going to rewrite the whole thing. And I'm going to go down here since I wrote that over there. So 7.5, change it to an improper fraction. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. Keep the denominator. Divided by 9, and we've got to write that as a fraction, so 9 over 1. Then we're going to keep, change, flip, so 15/2 times 1/9, and then we multiply across 15 over 18, and those are both divisible by 3, and so we get 5/6 pages per minute. Woo! Okay, so that's how this relates to what we're doing, because in order to calculate these rates, yesterday I showed that we could have decimals in our fractions, and now we're having fractions in our fractions. Okay? There's just a few problems on that, either in the book or on Canvas. Now the next section is going to take a little bit more practice. And this is converting rates. So this is section 1.3, convert rates. And the way that we do this, and this is just going to be a really quick introduction, you're going to be doing this in your 8th grade science class. It's called dimensional analysis. Okay, dimensional analysis is also known as the picket fence method, and it's just a way to organize stuff so that as we're converting rates, to make sure that we write them down in an organized way. And it helps just to know what to do when. Okay, so the steps for the picket fence dimensional analysis method are this. Step 1, write beginning info as a rate, which just means a fraction. Okay? Step 2, figure out what needs to change. And on the assignment, for the most part, you're only going to be changing one of the measurements, not both, which makes it super easy. And then step 3, remember when changing units, you need one on, say on and I write of. We are winning today. One on top and one on bottom so that they cancel out. Just like with our simplifying, our cross simplifying, same idea, but we're going to do that with the units of the fractions. So I'll show you what that means. So they cancel out. Okay? So what that looks like is we're going to say we went 10 feet per second. We have a remote control car. RC car is super fun. Let's see, we'll call this one number 4. RC car went 10 feet per